So today we're going to go over how to set up your comic book document as well as how to customize the rectangle frame tools, set up the thought, speech, or narration bubbles as well. So when you get started, you can choose which comic book style you want to go with, meaning the size. I'm going to go with the 6x10, so I'm going to go to inches. So I'm going to put my width at 6.25. And then I'm going to put my height at 10.187. Now, number of pages, this is going to be a 16-page document. Now, number of columns, because we're doing customized rectangle frame tools, I'm going to go with the 8. My margins, I'm going to set to 0.25. My bleeds, I'm going to set to 0.25. Press create. And now once the document is open, you also want to make sure you go back, or before you do this document setup, and make sure you have checked facing pages. So press OK if you didn't. So now we have the pages set up to where they're side by side. The cover and back page are separate. So now what you want to do is you want to go down to page 2 and 3. And this we're going to use as just reference point. So I'm going to go over how to set up customized rectangle frame tools. So I'm going to simply go to File, Place. So I just placed 2 references on here. So we're not going to use this exactly, but we're going to show how you can set up different styles. So with the rectangle frame tool, I'm going to mimic what we have here. So just using this as a reference, I'm going to click on my rectangle frame tool. And now looking at this, this has a few large images as well as rectangle frame tools that are in different shapes. So for starters, I'm going to set up my first one here. So I'm going to start out with this main big image here in the corner. So I'm going to keep my comic book within the margins, even though they didn't. So I'm going to set this up here. So now, assuming that this is a 5-shaped object, or it is just angled so that we can't see how this ends at the back, we can do it one of 2 ways. We can simply click on the direct select tool, click on deselect, click on that one corner. Much like in Illustrator, the direct select tool allows you to select the point or the path of the shape. So I'm going to angle it this way. And then I'm going to click on the top one and pull the top one to this corner to guesstimate where it is right here. And now again, with the rectangle frame tool, when you press preview, you can't see anything. So I'm going to simply add a fill to this. And then I'm going to put a tint on the fill. Like so. So I'm going to draw this next one. I'm going to draw it here. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I can hit the eyedropper tool and sample the color. And then now, click on the rectangle frame tool. I'm going to draw out another one. End it here. I'm going to hit eyedropper and sample the color so it copies over the tint. Hit A, deselect, click on the top point here, and then bring that over to this corner. So now starting with this next one, the third rectangle frame tool, I'm going to drag it out. And then again, deselect, click on direct select tool, click on the point and then drag it upward. Then we can hit the eyedropper tool to sample it. And now again, deselect, click on the point, and you can manipulate the anchors how you see fit. Again, your story will dictate how these actually look and how they go and the sizing of them. And so for the sake of reference, I'm going to add a white stroke around these so we can actually see where they are. So when I hit W to preview it, this is how it looks. So essentially all the rectangles here are customized to have a unique shape versus having a standard square shape. And then you just simply place the images into these boxes. Now, scrolling down, I'm going to do the same thing on a different one, but a simpler one. So I'm going to hit W to jump back to the design mode, rectangle. Now in this case, we could do all of them at once. So I'm going to Alt and copy down one using the Alt key, quick copy. Now I'm going to highlight these, compress them slightly. So now, because of the angle, I can simply click on the Direct Select tool, and then now Marquee, meaning click and drag over these 2 points here to bring them down, straight down. Marquee over this side, bring this down, so that the thickness between the lines stay the same. And then I'm going to drag out 2 more rectangles at the bottom. Then I can highlight all these at once, click on the blue, lower the tint to say 5%, hit W. So again, this is how you do a simple customization of the rectangle frame tool. Now alternatively, if you need an extra shape, you can simply click on rectangle frame tool and then ellipse or polygon tool if you need a triangle, hexagon, so on and so forth. Now, as it relates to the narration boxes, those are pretty straightforward, but to set one up, again, instead of using the rectangle frame tool, you want to use the rectangle tool. Now, rectangle tool is simply drag it out. And in these instances, these are white with purple. So I'm going to make my stroke white. I'm going to make it 2 points. Now the fill, I'm going to make the fill a different color. I can start my base off with, say, pink or red. Doesn't really matter. Because once you click on this, you can double click on the actual swatch itself to pull up the swatch colorization menu. And we can choose a custom. So I'm going to go with a bluish tint. And now, once you have this set up, you can do one of two things. You can drag this into the library. And add it to your library so that if you need it, you can just drag it out. And then you can still customize or change the size. Now, when it comes to adding a text box in here, you can simply click on the text box. And you don't want to click in, because if you click in, it'll put the text box within the shape so the text is right up against the edge. Now, if you do that, you can easily right click on it because it reads it as a text box under the text frame options. I'm going to cancel this for a second. So I'm going to type out text. Test text. I'm going to make it white because that's what the color would be. Now, since this rectangle shape is now a part of the text frame, or it's a text frame, we can click on this. Now, when it comes to insert spacing, check preview. Now, if you were to use this in this way, you can click on it to essentially add padding. So this is fine. 0.0625 off, so it's not right up on the edge. That works just fine. So that when you move it, you can't move the rectangle frame tool separate from the text box. Now, alternatively, if you were to draw out a rectangle tool, you can sample the colors again. So now, instead of putting the text box in it, we're putting it on it. So we're going to click and hold the mouse down and manually drag out a text box. So we have the text here. Now this is more freeing because again the text box is not conformed to the shape itself. So you can move the text box independently of the rectangle. Now, alternatively, if you want a customized shape, so for example, these thought bubbles are essentially circles with tails on them. So we can drag out the rectangle tool, click on that, and go to ellipse tool, and we can draw out an ellipse. Now, if you wanted to do, the standard one is white fill, black outline. So in order to get that curve, we're going to jump back to what we did in Illustrator and Photoshop by using the pen tool. So hit P for pen, and we're going to simply click on once, twice, a third time, and you remember, close it. We're in where you started to close the shape. Again, add it to be white. Now, again, this is still two separate objects. So in order to merge these together, much like in Illustrator, hold Shift, click on the first one so that they're linked together. Now, in InDesign, you can go to Window, you can go to Objects, Pathfinder, and now with the Pathfinder, we're going to do a simple Pathfinder by Unite or Add, so it's going to merge these two shapes together. Now, alternatively, these are combined into one shape, but we can still edit the point. So clicking on, again, the Direct Select tool, or A, I can click on Deselect, and I can click on just this one point to maneuver this. I can stretch this out a bit. So again, you can still customize the shape even after you merge it together. So the same would go for a rectangle narration box. Draw out a long bar. Again, fill it with white. Now, alternatively, if you don't want to customize it with the pen tool, you can rectangle tool and go to polygon tool. Click once and it pulls up the polygon tool options. Now we want three sides because we're going to make a triangle. Hit OK. And then now we're going to again fill the triangle with white. And from here to the same steps we did before, I can make it smaller. We can flip it over. So that now we have it here. And then hold Shift, select both shapes, and then Pathfinder, Add. And now if you want to manipulate this smaller tail here, you can deselect, click on it, and we can bring it up and over so it looks more like a longer box. Now, if you wanted to make this shorter, you can, but you can't do it from this way. You would have to, again, Direct Select tool, click on the anchor point or the path, and manually bring that just that one side in shorter. And then same thing here, you can Direct Select tool, deselect, click on the point, and you can bring that in. So it looks more like a talk bubble. And again, once you're done with that, you can go to your libraries and drop it into the library. So that you can pull it out whenever you need to. So this is how you simply set up your basic shapes. So I'm going to delete these. So for example, alternatively, I'm going to click on this page. I'm going to simply grab this page and put this page next to this. So when you're designing your comics, you want to think about how you want to lay out your text boxes and how you want to lay out your actual images. Images go first, text goes over top of the images. So this is how you set up your document for the rectangular frame tools, customize thought, speech, or narration bubbles, as well as doing the overall page layout.